The online advertising space, the online internet world, and everything related to online is happening. And one of the persons in the world who makes it happen is here to talk to me about what is happening and what trends are emerging in the markets. That's Darren Houston, the Corporate Vice President of Consumer and Online for Microsoft. And thank you so much for finding our time for us.
Yeah, thank you.
What gets you to India? Because all the action seems to be in the US with all the Microsoft, Yahoo, and all those happening.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of things going on in the United States, but as you know, Microsoft has a global business, and it's really important for us how these businesses come together outside the United States. Obviously, for us, India is a super important country. I mean, how can you say you're in the consumer space and not be successful in a country of consumers like India is? So my role is really to help make sure that as a company that we win not just in the United States but win outside the United States as well, and try to build on some of the great assets we have here in India and elsewhere in the world.
Mm-hmm. But really, all the big drivers of internet, they're still taking their time to shape up in India. The broadband penetration is not enough. A lot of stuff is now happening or threatening to happen on the mobile space. How do you see that space emerging and the market evolving, given that you're an early mover here as well?
I'm quite optimistic. I mean, certainly the trends we see in the market, whether they be, with our online properties here in India, properties like MSN, with communications assets like Instant Messenger, as well as even our Microsoft Windows phones that we sell here in the Indian market. All of these things are growing at a very tremendous pace. And even in the PC space, which forever we've had challenges getting really big in India, you're really starting to see the bulk of the population now getting attracted to personal computers. So it may feel like it's early days, but when we look at our business in countries like India and China, also in Brazil, Russia, it's literally explosive right now, and we truly see tremendous potential here in India.
Mm-hmm. But given the way worldwide trends are emerging, when we see in the Indian market, do you see that capable, given the size of the market, and still a large chunk of that is not online? Do you see some of the early, maybe next generation or newer ideas coming from a market which will also cater to the masses, maybe exported to other parts of the world as well? Yeah,
I think there certainly are some peculiarities because India is behind in terms of deploying broadband into the home. A lot of people here are starting their first internet experience on the phone. And that's very different than what happened in the United States, because obviously people started with dial-up and went to broadband. I was also previously the president of Microsoft in Japan, and of course they've got broadband everywhere. But what you see in India is a lot of people's first internet experience is through some of the newer phones that are in the market. They may not have broadband or any type of connection into the home, but they're experiencing sort of what benefits the web can bring through some of these new sort of entry-level technologies.
So when this goes mobile, when the first experience goes mobile, what change in the market do you expect from the consumer point of view in terms of expectations and the market point of view from the point of opportunities that it presents?
Well, I think one thing is just interesting, and this is very much a very tactile thing, but people, if your first experience on the internet is on a smaller screen size, then you become more attuned to experiencing the internet through a smaller screen size. So you may start out with a mobile phone, but maybe your first PC has very much a smaller screen size versus something in the United States that might be a 12-inch or a 15-inch screen. We're seeing a big pickup in India of much smaller type devices. And all of the major manufacturers around the world are now creating new categories, things like mobile internet devices, some people call them. Some people call them ultra-low-cost PCs, but things with a much smaller surface, a keyboard, but a much smaller surface. That is partly because people have become used to interfacing with the internet on a smaller screen.
Mm-hmm. Can you probably give some kind of numbers and compare it with some other countries to give a sense of what this growth is looking like?
Yeah, I mean, the business I have, I've got assets, of course, Windows that everyone knows on the PC. I've got the Windows mobile business that's a new emerging business on high-end smartphones, as well as our internet assets. I mean, we're seeing growth in India sort of in the 20, 40, and some of our assets are literally doubling year over year here in the market. So it's explosive, maybe a strong word, but it's probably not too much of an exaggeration of what's going on in the market. It's attracting a lot of interest of companies like Microsoft and other multinational as well as local companies to take advantage of this next new wave of consumer technology in the marketplace.